A luxury sedan idles at the airport curb. Behind the wheel sits Marcus Webb, billionaire self-made titan hidden behind a driver's cap and simple jacket. When his company's top executive steps outside and sees his face, she recoils. Disgust flashes across her features. She refuses the ride. What she doesn't know, he owns the company. He controls her future. And in 48 hours, her career will crumble in the most public, humiliating way imaginable. This is a story about prejudice, power, and the ultimate reckoning. The rain hammered down like accusations. Marcus Webb sat behind the wheel of a black sedan, engine purring at the executive terminal of San Francisco International Airport. The cap on his head was worn, the jacket simple. He looked like any other driver waiting for a fare. But the watch hidden beneath his sleeve cost more than most cars in the lot. The automatic doors slid open. A woman emerged, designer luggage, tailored coat, confidence in every step. Victoria Chen, senior vice president of operations at Webb Industries, his company, she didn't know that yet. She approached the sedan, glanced through the rain-streaked window and froze. Her eyes met his. Marcus saw it instantly, the flicker of recognition not of his identity but of his skin. Her expression shifted. Disgust rippled across her features, quick but unmistakable. She stepped back. Marcus lowered the window, rain misted his face. Ms. Chen, car service. She shook her head, pulling her luggage closer. I'll find another ride. I'm your assigned driver, ma'am. I said no, her voice was sharp, final. She turned away, scanning the line of vehicles. Another sedan pulled up, identical make, identical model. The driver stepped out, white, middle-aged, polite smile. Victoria's posture relaxed instantly. She handed him her bags without hesitation. Marcus watched her climb into the other car. His jaw tightened. The dashcam recorded everything, her refusal, her retreat, her choice. The other sedan pulled away. Victoria never looked back. Marcus sat in the silence, rain drumming on the roof. His phone buzzed. Assistant, 11:47 p.m. Did she take the ride? Marcus typed slowly, each letter deliberate. Marcus, 11:48 p.m. No, she made her choice. He set the phone down, the rain poured harder. Lightning split the sky. She had no idea what was coming. Where are you from? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you're loving this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more. 12 hours earlier, the world looked different. Marcus Webb stood in his penthouse office on the 42nd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the San Francisco skyline. His desk was glass and steel, minimalist, powerful. The walls displayed framed patents, innovations that had revolutionized cloud computing, artificial intelligence, data security. Webb Industries, his empire, built from nothing. He scrolled through the quarterly financial report on his tablet. Revenue up 18%. Victoria Chen's division led the growth. Operations ran smoothly under her leadership. On paper, she was exceptional. But the numbers didn't tell the whole story. His assistant, David Park, entered with a folder. The HR complaints you requested. Marcus took it, flipping through pages. Exit interviews from Victoria's division, 3 in the past 6 months, all employees of color. The language was careful, professional, but the message was clear. Uncomfortable work environments. Felt my contributions were undervalued. Questioned constantly despite strong performance reviews. Marcus closed the folder. His grandmother's face flashed in his mind, strong, weathered, wise. She'd cleaned offices for 40 years, invisible to the people she served. He'd built this company so people like her would never be invisible again. David, I need you to book something for me. Oh, sir. Car service tomorrow night. Victoria Chen's flight lands at 11:30. I want to be her driver. David blinked. You want to drive her? Under an alias, I need to see who she really is. Marcus if she recognizes you. She won't, I'll dress down. Cap jacket, no logo, just another driver. David hesitated, and if your instincts are right. Marcus looked out at the city, lights glittering like stars. Then we'll handle it. But something felt wrong already, a weight in the air heavy and cold. What would he find when the mask came off? The airport terminal was chaos. Travelers rushing, announcements echoing, the smell of coffee and exhaust thick in the air. Marcus pulled the sedan to the curb at exactly 11:28 p.m. He adjusted the cap, checked the mirror. His reflection looked ordinary, good. He needed ordinary tonight. Victoria's flight had landed, any moment now. The automatic doors opened. She appeared, phone pressed to her ear, luggage rolling behind her. Her coat was Burberry. Her heels clicked against the pavement. She radiated authority, the kind that came from years of wielding power. Marcus stepped out, standing beside the sedan. Ms. Chen. She glanced up, irritation flashing. Yes. Car service, I'm here to take you home. Her eyes traveled from his face to his hands to the car. Something shifted in her expression, subtle but undeniable. Her mouth tightened. She took a half step back. I didn't order this service. Your assistant booked it, ma'am. Confirmation number. I'll get my own ride. Her voice was clipped cold. Marcus kept his tone professional. I'm already here. The ride's paid for. She looked at him again, and this time he saw it clearly. The calculation, the judgment, the refusal to share space with him. She wasn't afraid of danger. She was repulsed by proximity. I'm not getting in a car with. She trailed off, but the sentence hung in the air, unfinished and damning. Another sedan pulled up behind Marcus. The driver stepped out, tall, white, clean-cut. He smiled at Victoria. Need a ride, ma'am. Her entire demeanor changed, shoulders relaxed, smile returned. Yes, actually, thank you. She handed him her luggage. He loaded it with efficiency, opened the door for her. She climbed in without hesitation, without a backward glance. The sedan pulled away into the rain. Marcus stood on the curb, water soaking through his jacket. His hands curled into fists. He forced them open. The dashcam had captured everything, her face, her refusal, her choice. He climbed back into the car, gripping the steering wheel. The leather creaked under his fingers. His phone buzzed. David's text glowed on the screen. He replied, no, she made her choice. The rain hammered louder. Thunder rolled across the bay. She'd judged him in seconds, dismissed him without a word. And she had no idea who he was. How much would that ignorance cost her? Marcus sat in the driver's seat, engine idling, rain blurring the world outside. His chest felt tight, not anger yet, something colder, something heavier. He'd faced prejudice before. Growing up in Oakland, scraping by, watching his grandmother work herself to exhaustion for families who never learned her name. He'd carried that weight through college, through his first startup, through every boardroom where he was the only black face at the table. But this was different. Victoria Chen worked for him. She profited from his vision, his labor, his risk. She sat in meetings he chaired, smiled at him across conference tables, shook his hand at company events. And tonight, when he was just a man in a cap offering a ride, she couldn't even look at him. His grandmother's voice echoed through the years. Marcus, baby, they're going to underestimate you every single day. Let them, and then show them exactly who you are. He closed his eyes, exhaled slowly. The hurt would come later. Right now, clarity settled over him like armor. Victoria had revealed herself, not in a boardroom, not in front of witnesses, but in a moment when she thought no one was watching, when she believed there would be no consequences. She was wrong. Marcus opened his eyes, started the engine. The plan had been to test her character. She'd failed. Now came the reckonings. What happened next would change everything for her, for the company, for everyone watching. 25 years earlier, Marcus was 16, washing cars in a downtown parking garage. His hands were raw from soap and cold water. The rich cars gleamed under his care, Mercedes, BMWs, Porsches. He memorized every line, every detail. A man in an expensive suit approached, keys jingling. Black Mercedes S-Class. He tossed the keys to Marcus without looking at him. "Don't scratch it, kid." Marcus caught them. "I won't, sir." The man paused, finally glancing at him. His eyes swept over Marcus's worn clothes, his dark skin, the bucket of soapy water. He smirked. "You'll never own one of these, you know that, right?" Marcus looked up, water dripping from his hands. "Why not?" The man laughed, sharp, dismissive. "Because people like you don't build empires, you wash cars for people like me." He walked away, still laughing. Marcus stood there, keys cold in his palm. The words burned, but beneath the burn something else ignited. Determination. 10 years later, Marcus launched his first tech startup from a garage apartment. 80-hour weeks, ramen dinners, code until sunrise. The company sold for $12 million. He was 26. At 30, he launched Webb Industries. Cloud infrastructure, AI integration, security protocols that changed the industry. The company went public. Valuation $2 billion. At 35, he bought the parking garage where he'd washed cars. And then he bought the company that man had worked for. He shut it down. Not out of cruelty, out of principle. The message was clear: underestimate me at your own risk. Now, sitting in the rain outside the airport, Marcus felt that same fire. Victoria Chen had made the same mistake that man had made. She'd looked at him and decided he didn't matter. She was about to learn the cost of prejudice. And this time, the lesson would be public. Morning light streamed through Marcus's office windows. He sat at his desk, tablet glowing, files spread before him. Victoria Chen's employee records, performance reviews, internal communications. He'd requested everything from HR the night before. David entered with coffee. "You didn't sleep." "Didn't need to." Marcus pulled up the first exit interview. Jamal Washington, software engineer, left Victoria's division 4 months ago. Stellar performance reviews, moved to a competitor. "Why are you leaving Webb Industries?" The work environment in operations became uncomfortable. "Can you elaborate?" Ms. Chen made it clear I didn't fit the culture. She questioned my qualifications constantly, even after I'd proven myself. It felt like I had to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Marcus's jaw tightened. He opened the second interview. Prejudice project manager, left 3 months ago. Ms. Chen assigned me to projects below my skill level. When I asked why, she said I needed more seasoning. I had 8 years of experience. Meanwhile, less experienced colleagues, all white, were promoted over me. Third interview, Marcus Chen, no relation to Victoria, data analyst, left 6 weeks ago. I can't prove anything, but the way she looked at me, the way she spoke to me, I felt like an outsider in my own team. I stopped raising my hand in meetings. It was easier to stay quiet. Marcus cross-referenced their performance reviews. All rated exceeds expectations or higher. All outperformed their peers. And all left within 6 months. He pulled up turnover data for Victoria's division. Among white employees, 8% annually. Among employees of color, 32%. The pattern wasn't subtle, it was a smoking gun. David leaned over his shoulder. This is worse than we thought. Marcus nodded slowly. She's been doing this for years, right under our noses. What are you going to do? Marcus closed the tablet. His reflection stared back from the dark screen, tired eyes, set jaw, quiet fury. I'm going to make sure everyone sees what I saw last night. But would the board believe him? Would they act? Or would they protect one of their own? Marcus scheduled an emergency board meeting for 9:00 a.m. Subject line: Leadership Review Urgent. No details, no explanations, just the time and the room number. Victoria received the invitation at 7:30 a.m. She replied within minutes, "I'll be there." She arrived at 8:55, confident as always. Designer blouse, pressed slacks, leather portfolio. She smiled at the other board members filing in: Tom Lawson, CFO, Jennifer Ortiz, General Counsel, Robert Hayes, VP of Technology. She took her usual seat, third from the head of the table. At exactly 9:00 a.m., the door opened. Marcus walked in. Not in a driver's cap, not in a worn jacket. In a tailored charcoal suit, crisp white shirt, no tie. His presence filled the room instantly, calm, commanding, absolute. Victoria's smile faltered. Confusion flickered across her face. Marcus took his seat at the head of the table. He didn't look at her yet. He opened his laptop, connected it to the projector screen. "Thank you all for coming on short notice," he said, voice steady. "We have a serious matter to address." Victoria shifted in her chair. "Marcus, what's this about?" Now he looked at her. His gaze was level, unflinching. "Your conduct, Ms. Chen, specifically your behavior last night." Her face drained of color. "Last night?" Marcus pressed a button. The projector screen lit up. Airport terminal, rain, a black sedan at the curb, a man in a cap standing beside it. Victoria's voice clear through the audio: "I'm not getting in a car with." The room fell silent. The footage continued: her refusal, her retreat, the other driver, her immediate acceptance. Marcus paused the video. Victoria's frozen face filled the screen, disgust captured in high definition. "Ms. Chen," Marcus said quietly, "we need to talk about what happens when you don't know who's watching." Victoria's hands trembled. The portfolio slipped from her lap. The board members stared at the screen, then at her, then at Marcus. Tom Lawson leaned forward. "Marcus, was that you driving?" "Oh, yes." Jennifer Ortiz's voice was tight, and she refused the ride because. Marcus met Victoria's eyes. "Why don't you tell them, Ms. Chen?" Victoria opened her mouth. No words came out. Her career hung by a thread. And Marcus held the scissors. The video played on loop in Victoria's mind, even after the screen went dark. Her voice, her face, her choice. The boardroom felt like a courtroom. Every pair of eyes was a jury, and the verdict was already forming. "Ms. Chen," Marcus's voice cut through the silence, "would you like to explain?" Victoria's throat was dry, her hands twisted in her lap. "Mr. Webb, I didn't know it was you." "I'm aware. I was tired, the flight was delayed, I wasn't thinking clearly." Tom Lawson leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "You looked pretty clear to me. You rejected one driver and immediately accepted another." Victoria's pulse hammered. "I just wanted to get home, it wasn't personal." "Then what was it?" Jennifer Ortiz's voice was sharp. "Help us understand what we just watched." Victoria looked around the table. No sympathy, no allies. Robert Hayes wouldn't meet her eyes. Tom's expression was stone. Jennifer's pen tapped against her legal pad, rhythmic, impatient. She was alone. Marcus opened a folder, pulling out printed documents. These are exit interviews from your division, 3 employees who left in the past 6 months. He slid copies across the table. All high performers, all people of color, all citing the same concerns. Victoria's stomach dropped. Those interviews are confidential. They're relevant, Marcus interrupted. Read them. The board members scanned the pages. Tom's jaw tightened. Jennifer's eyebrows rose. Robert shook his head slowly. Victoria felt the room shift. The air grew colder, heavier. She'd built her career on control, on precision, on always being 3 steps ahead. Now she was falling, and there was nothing to grab onto. What could she possibly say that would matter now? Tom Lawson set down the exit interview and cleared his throat. Marcus, I need to say something. Victoria's head snapped up. Hope flickered. Maybe Tom would defend her, remind everyone of her track record, her results. Tom looked directly at Marcus. I've suspected this for months. The hope died. What do you mean? Marcus asked. Last quarter, I reviewed compensation data across divisions. Victoria's team had the widest pay gap between white employees and employees of color, 14% difference for equivalent roles. When I brought it to her attention, she said it was based on negotiation skills. Jennifer leaned forward. Negotiation skills. That's what she claimed, but the pattern was too consistent. I flagged it in my report to HR. Marcus turned to Victoria. Did HR contact you about this? Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. Yes. And what did you tell them? That it was a misunderstanding, that I'd review the data. Did you? Silence. Tom continued, his voice measured. 3 weeks ago, I sat in on a division meeting. One of Victoria's senior managers, Jamal Washington, proposed a new workflow automation. Brilliant idea. Victoria dismissed it in 30 seconds, said it wasn't polished enough. He paused. 2 weeks later, a white junior analyst proposed something nearly identical. Victoria praised it as innovative thinking. Victoria's face burned. Jamal's proposal had flaws. I reviewed both proposals, Tom said flatly. They were almost the same. Jamal's was actually more detailed. The room fell silent again. Marcus studied Tom. Why didn't you come to me sooner? I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to accuse someone based on instinct. Tom's gaze shifted to Victoria. But after seeing that footage, after reading these interviews, I'm sure now. Victoria felt the walls closing in. Even her allies had turned. Could she still find a way out, or was this the end? Marcus stood walking to the window. The city sprawled below, steel and glass, ambition and power. Here's what we know, he said, voice calm. Victoria refused to ride with me based on my appearance. That's documented. She created a hostile environment for employees of color. That's documented. She perpetuated pay inequity, also documented. He turned back to the room. This isn't an isolated incident. It's a pattern of behavior that has cost us talent, damaged our culture, and exposed us to legal liability. Jennifer nodded. If any of those employees decide to sue, they'd win, Marcus finished, easily. Victoria found her voice. I have the best performance record in the company. My division drives 23% of total revenue. You need me. Marcus met her eyes. We need leaders who embody our values. You're not one of them. You're going to fire me over a car ride. I'm going to fire you because you've systematically marginalized talented people who didn't look like you. The car ride just proved what I suspected. Tom pulled up a spreadsheet on his tablet. I ran the numbers last night. If we retain just 2 of the 3 employees who left Victoria's division and factor in reduced recruiting costs from lower turnover, we save the company nearly $400,000 annually. Robert spoke for the first time. And the innovation we're losing is incalculable. Good people don't leave good environments. Victoria's hands clenched. So that's it, you've already decided. Marcus sat back down. No, I'm giving you a chance to speak. Tell us why we shouldn't terminate your employment. The challenge hung in the air. Victoria scrambled for leverage, for anything that might shift the momentum. But what defense could she offer when the evidence was overwhelming? The time was running out. Victoria straightened in her chair, her voice steadied. I admit the optics of last night are bad, but I've given this company 6 years. I've built relationships with every major client. I've increased revenue year over year. If you fire me, those clients will follow me to a competitor. Jennifer raised an eyebrow. Is that a threat? It's reality. I have leverage here. Marcus remained silent, watching. Victoria pressed on, sensing an opening. I'll agree to sensitivity training. I'll personally mentor employees of color. I'll fix the pay disparities. Give me 90 days to prove I can change. Tom glanced at Marcus. Robert shifted uncomfortably. For a moment, the room seemed to waver. Victoria's track record was undeniable. Her client relationships were valuable. Maybe they'd accept the compromise, let her save face, avoid the messy publicity of termination. Victoria allowed herself a thin smile. I've made mistakes, I acknowledge that, but I'm worth more to this company inside than out. Marcus leaned forward, fingers steepled. You're right about one thing, the clients trust you. Victoria's posture relaxed slightly. Then we have an understanding. Which is why I called them this morning. Her smile froze. Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling. I spoke with David Chen at Apex Technologies, Linda Morales at Quantum Systems, and James Park at Stratosphere Solutions. Your 3 biggest accounts. Victoria's pulse spiked. You had no right. I told them we were conducting a leadership review. I asked if they'd be comfortable working with another senior executive if necessary. All 3 said yes, as long as the transition was smooth. The air left Victoria's lungs. Turns out, Marcus continued, they value the company, not just you. And when I mentioned we're prioritizing diversity and inclusion in our leadership team, Linda actually thanked me, said it's about time. Victoria's face went pale. Her leverage, her only card, was gone. So let me be clear, Marcus said softly. You have no power here, none. The false hope shattered like glass. What little ground she'd gained vanished in seconds. Victoria's voice cracked. If you do this, I'll sue for wrongful termination, I'll claim retaliation, I'll drag this company through the press. Jennifer didn't even look up from her notes. Go ahead. We have documented evidence of discrimination, pay inequity, and hostile work environment. Any judge will side with us. I'll say Marcus set me up, that he targeted me because I'm a woman. Marcus's expression didn't change. I have 3 male executives and 4 female executives reporting to me. 2 of them are women of color. Try again. Victoria stood abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. This is about control. You can't handle strong leaders who don't bow to you. Sit down, Marcus said quietly. Something in his tone made her obey. He opened another file. Do you remember Keisha Williams? Victoria blinked. Who? Exactly. Marcus pulled out a photograph. A young black woman, bright smile, graduation cap. She interned in your division 3 years ago, Stanford graduate, top of her class. She applied for a full-time position. You rejected her. I reject dozens of applicants. You wrote in her evaluation, not the right cultural fit. She had a 4 GPA and glowing references. Tom leaned forward. What happened to hers? She joined Google. She's now a senior product manager. Marcus set the photo down. We lost her because of unconscious bias, or maybe it wasn't unconscious at all. Victoria's hands trembled. I make hearing decisions based on qualifications. Except when those qualifications come in the wrong package. Marcus's voice was steel. My grandmother cleaned offices for 40 years. She was invisible, treated like she didn't matter. She was brilliant, kind, hardworking, and people like you made her feel small every single day. His eyes locked on Victoria's. I built this company so people like her would never be invisible again. I built it so talent would be recognized regardless of skin color. And you turned my company into exactly the kind of place she suffered in. The room was silent. Victoria's chest tightened. She had no defense left, no leverage, no escape. I won't resign quietly, she whispered. Marcus stood, then you'll be escorted out, your choice. This was it, the final moment, the point of no return. How much was she willing to lose? The silence stretched like a tightrope. Victoria remained seated, jaw clenched, eyes burning. Every instinct screamed at her to fight, to refuse, to make them drag her out. She'd clawed her way to this position. She'd sacrificed weekends, relationships, sleep. She wasn't going to surrender it without a fight. I want a formal hearing, she said, with the full board, not just this ambush. Marcus nodded to Jennifer. Schedule it. Today, Victoria added, if you're so confident, let's do this properly. Fine, Marcus agreed. 3 p.m. Conference room A. Every board member, HR present, legal present. You can bring representation if you want. Victoria stood, grabbing her portfolio. I will, and when this is over, you'll regret targeting me. She walked out, heels clicking sharply against the floor. The door closed. Tom exhaled. She's going to fight. Let her, Marcus said. The evidence speaks for itself. 3 p.m. Conference room A. The full board assembled, 9 members, including Marcus. Victoria sat at one end of the table, flanked by her attorney, Gerald Moss, a silver-haired man known for defending executives in discrimination cases. HR Director Sarah Chen sat beside Jennifer Ortiz. A court reporter waited in the corner, hands poised over the stenography machine. Marcus began, this hearing will determine whether Victoria Chen's employment with Webb Industries should be terminated for cause. We'll present evidence. Ms. Chen will have the opportunity to respond. Gerald leaned forward. My client maintains her innocence. This proceeding is retaliatory and… Let's see the evidence first, interrupted board member Patricia Cole, a former federal judge. Marcus nodded to Jennifer, who pulled up the airport footage on the main screen. The room watched in silence. Victoria's refusal, her body language, the immediate acceptance of the white driver. When it ended, Patricia spoke. Ms. Chen, can you explain this? Victoria's jaw tightened. I was exhausted. I didn't feel safe getting into an unmarked vehicle with a stranger. The vehicle was marked, Marcus corrected. Company logo on the door. I didn't see it. And the driver you accepted, also unmarked, also a stranger. Victoria faltered. I felt more comfortable with him. Why? Silence. Patricia's expression hardened. Answer the question, Ms. Chen. He seemed more professional. Marcus pulled up a side-by-side comparison, both drivers in identical uniforms, same sedan model, same company. The only difference was obvious. Tom spoke next. Let's move to the exit interviews. Jennifer distributed copies. The board read in silence Jamal's complaint, Priya's frustration, Marcus Chen's resignation letter. Patricia looked up. Ms. Chen, do you dispute these accounts? People leave jobs for many reasons. Do you dispute these specific accounts? Victoria's attorney jumped in. These are hearsay. Their documented complaints filed with HR, Sarah Chen interrupted. We investigated. We found the complaints credible but insufficient for termination at the time. This new evidence changes that assessment. Marcus pulled up the turnover data. The racial disparity was stark, 8% versus 32%. Board member Michael Torres leaned forward. This is a liability nightmare. Gerald tried again. Correlation isn't causation. Turnover can be explained by. By what? Patricia cut him off. Market conditions. Why would those affect employees of color disproportionately? No answer. Marcus presented the pay equity analysis. The 14% gap, Victoria's dismissal of HR's concerns. Then Tom shared the story of Jamal's rejected proposal versus the white analysts praised one. Finally, Marcus showed Keisha Williams's photo and rejection letter, not the right cultural fit. The evidence piled up piece by piece, damning and undeniable. Patricia turned to Victoria. Do you have anything to say in your defense? Victoria's face was stone. I've driven revenue growth year after year. That's what this company cares about, not feelings. Excuse me, Patricia's voice dropped dangerously low. I make tough decisions. I demand excellence. If that makes people uncomfortable, that's their problem. The room erupted. That's not what this is about, Tom started. You've created a hostel, Jennifer added. Patricia raised her hand. Silence fell. She looked at Victoria with the expression of someone who just heard a defendant confess. Ms. Chen, do you understand what you just said? Victoria realized her mistake too late. Her attorney touched her arm, but she jerked away. I understand that I'm being punished for doing my job. Patricia turned to Marcus. I've heard enough. Call for a vote. Marcus looked around the table, all in favor of terminating Victoria Chen's employment for cause. 9 hands rose, every single one. Including Patricia's, including Michael's, including the 2 board members Victoria considered allies. Unanimous. Victoria stood abruptly, chair clattering backward. This is illegal. It's documented, justified, and final, Patricia said coldly. You're done. The security appeared at the door, 2 officers, professional and quiet. Victoria looked at Marcus one last time. You did this because I wouldn't get in your car. No, Marcus said quietly. I did this because you showed me exactly who you are. The car was just the proof. The officers stepped forward. Ms. Chen will escort you to collect your personal items. You have 30 minutes. Victoria grabbed her briefcase. Her attorney followed, already on his phone. The door closed. The room exhaled collectively. Justice had arrived, swift, undeniable, final. 1 month later, Marcus stood in the operations division bullpen, watching his team work. New faces filled several desks, recruits from top firms, diverse backgrounds, eager energy. Sarah Chen approached with a folder. Final turnover numbers for the quarter. Marcus opened it. Operations division turnover down to 9% overall. Exit interview sentiment overwhelmingly positive. We also got 3 applications from former employees asking to return, Sarah added, including Jamal Washington. Marcus smiled. Interview him. If he's interested, make an offer. Across the office, Tom waved him over. They walked to the conference room where a new senior VP candidate waited, Linda Morales, formerly of Quantum Systems. Sharp, experienced, impeccable references. The interview went well. She asked about company culture, diversity initiatives, leadership philosophy. Marcus answered honestly. When they finished, Linda shook his hand. I've heard what you did with Victoria Chen, she said. That took courage. It took necessity, Marcus replied. Either way, I want to work for a leader who means what he says. When do I start? 2 weeks later, she did. Victoria's name faded from company conversations. Her clients transitioned smoothly to Linda's oversight. Revenue stayed strong. Employee satisfaction scores climbed. Marcus received a letter one afternoon, no return address. He opened it carefully. Mr. Webb, you don't know me. I'm Keisha Williams. 3 years ago, Victoria Chen rejected my application with the words, "not the right cultural fit." I just wanted to say thank you for holding her accountable. People like you give me hope that things are changing. Maybe one day I'll apply to Webb Industries again. Respectfully, Keisha. Marcus read it twice. Then he framed it and hung it beside his grandmother's photo on his office wall. That evening, he stood at his window watching the city lights flicker on. His phone buzzed. Text from Tom, "Board approved the new diversity initiative, full funding, you did it." Marcus smiled. His grandmother's voice whispered through his memory, "Stand tall, baby, even when they push you down." He'd stood tall and he'd won. But more importantly, he'd protected the people who couldn't protect themselves. That mattered more than any victories. Power isn't just about money or titles. It's about what you do when no one's watching, when you think you're safe, when you believe there will be no consequences. Victoria Chen made a choice in the rain that night. She didn't know she was being tested. She didn't know the driver was her CEO. She just revealed who she truly was when she thought it didn't matter. But it always matters. Marcus Webb learned that lesson as a boy washing cars. He learned it from his grandmother, who cleaned offices for people who never saw her. He learned it building a company from nothing, facing doubt and dismissal at every turn. And he made sure Victoria learned it too. The story isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. It's about building spaces where everyone belongs, where talent is recognized regardless of skin color, where dignity is non-negotiable. Marcus stands at his window now, looking out over the city he conquered. Somewhere below, people are making choices. Some will choose kindness, some will choose prejudice. And some will learn too late that every choice has a price. His grandmother's photograph watches from the wall. She's smiling, proud. "I stood tall, Grandma," Marcus whispers, "just like you taught me." The city glows beneath him. The future stretches forward, brighter now, more just. Because one man refused to accept that dignity is negotiable. And sometimes that's all it takes to change the world. One choice, one stand, one moment of courage when it matters most. The question isn't whether we have power. It's what we do with it when the moment comes.